with two practical examples, we are going to see in this video how can we use if function in Excel with multiple conditions or multiple criteria. We can use either if function or ifs function. Basically, the if function in Excel can help us automate status or automate calculations. The first example that we have is about numerical ranges, and the second one is about categorical ranges. As the numerical ranges, we have some commissions to be calculated based on the ranges. And as the categorical ranges, we have some status to be put in the stock level status. Very low, low, medium, high, very high, based on the stock quantity. So let me go back to the first sheet and let's see how can we use either if or ifs in Excel to help us with this automation. Let's start with the if function. That is the most traditional one. And by the way, if you have the most recent Excel version, of course you have equal sign ifs function in the Excel. However, we can also use the if, okay? It's a function that is going to work in any version of Excel. So we're going to keep up with the if function for this video. Let me go here to the table that I have, where I have the salesperson, the total sales, and then the commission that I need to calculate based on the total sales. If the total sale is up to 10,000, the commission is 2%, up to 15,000 is 3%, and so on. So let me go here back to the commission cell, and I want to start with equals sign and then if function. Make sure you double click within the function, the list, to open up the function itself. The first thing that we need to set up here is the logical test. And the logical test is going to be basically a check if what we are looking for is true or not. So my logical test here is going to be if the total sales, the value that I have to the left, is in this case less than or equal to $10,000. Why I'm using here equal to? Because I also want to include the $10,000 itself. So if the value to the left is less than or equal to $10,000, comma, so if it's true, what I want to return as result is going to be the total sale itself times multiplied, I can use asterisk, by the 2%. So 2%, comma. If it's not true, if it's not less than or equal to $10,000, it can be any other different range, $15,000, $20,000, or over $20,000. So I have 3 more criteria to go. And because the if function only allows me to use 2 conditions, if it's true or if it's false. However, I cannot use only 2 conditions here because I have many different conditions. So what we're going to do here is we are going to nest the if function, or in simple words, we are going to use again the if function within the if function. So let me double click here, to select again the if function. Now I want to check the second range. If the total sale is less than or again equal to, let's see, $15,000, comma, so what I need to do is the total sale times 3% this time, 3%, comma. However, if it's not true, we need to go to the second, to the third range. That is going to be if again, double click, the total sale now is less than or equal to $20,000, comma, if it's true, I want to do total sales times 4%, comma. Now basically we're done. I don't need to open again another if formula. Could I do so? Yes, for sure. I could open again a if formula within the if formula to input my last argument. However, it's not required because is the only thing left. So the only thing left is everything that is over $20,000. So if it's not less than 10,000 or less than 15,000 or less than 20,000, it can only be more than $20,000. So we can use as the value if false. So if it's over $20,000, what I is going to do is total sales times 5%. That's it. For each if function that I opened here, I need to close one parenthesis. So close one parenthesis, close one more parenthesis, and then close one more parenthesis. That's it, and then enter. Okay, so now we do automate the calculation. $4,000 is equal to $80. Let me change the format to $, okay, like this. And 40,000 is equal to 8. Let's check if it's correct. So 40,000 is in this first range right here, so it's 2%. Equal sign $4,000 times 2%. Enter. Yes, it's indeed $80. Now we know it is correct. Let me click at the bottom right corner of the cell, hold and drag down to make sure we can copy this formula down to all the rows that we have. And as we can see right here, we have all the calculations using the different criteria to the different levels of the sales. And if I change any sale, let's say instead of $4,000, I'm going to use $21,000, enter. Excel automatically calculate here the new commission. And yeah, it's perfect. Now let's move on to the second example where we have categorical ranges. And as the categorical, I mean, we have some status text as the result. Very low, low, medium, high, and very high depends on the stock level range. Let's say a item has 42 units on hand to sell. So 42 is right here. So we have high as the status. And we can set up this status again using either if or ifs function. So let me go equal sign, use the if function again, double click, 1, 2. My logical test here, the argument in bold is going to be stock level quantity. If this stock level is less than 10, why this time I'm not using equal to? Because if you see here the stock level ranges, the text says below and not up to the number 10, okay? So it's below 10. 10 is not lower than 10, it's just 10. So I cannot include the number 10 itself. That's why. So less than 10, comma. So what I want to do is retrieve or return this status right here, very low. And to make sure I can return a text using the if function, I can put it into quotations. So quote, very low, unquote. This is how we can do it, okay? Quote, very low, unquote. Comma, everything needs to be in between quotations. Again, we only have one criteria left. However, I have many criteria to insert in the if formula. So what we need to do is a nested if function. Again, I can open the if formula, 1, 2. My logical test now is going to be stock level is up to 20 or less than or equal to 20, comma. If it's true, open quotations, I want to return low, close quotations as result, comma. If function again, double click, 1, 2. If the stock level is less than or equal to 40, comma, I want to return, open quotations, medium, close quotations, comma. If again the stock quantity is less than 50, comma, I want to return, open quotations, high, and close quotations, comma. And if it's not very low or medium or high, it can only be very high. The only criteria that is left. However, if you want to include again a if formula here, you can do so, but you don't need to, as we did before. But let me include here just to make sure we see all the possibilities. If, double click, 1, 2, if the stock level now is over 50,000, sorry, over 50, okay? So over greater than 50, comma, so I want to return open quotations, very high, close quotations, close parentheses, and again, for each one of those if formulas that we opened, we need to close a parenthesis. Close again parenthesis, close one more time, and oh, one more time. Yeah, that's it. Just a little tweak here. As we can see, I'm using the condition less than 50. However, the correct operator here to use is less than or equal to, because we are talking about this argument right here, up to 50. So let me change, instead of use only less than, I also want to include equal to. And yeah, that's it. Everything else is perfect. Enter. Okay, high, 42 is high. Yeah, it's correct. But instead of 42, and what about 51? It's very high. And what about 20? It's low. And what about 41? It's high. And 5, it's very low. And what about 19? It's low. Okay, let me go back to 42 and we're done. All the arguments are working fine. Now I can click at the bottom right corner of the cell, hold and drag down to make sure we can copy this formula to all the rows that we have. So this is how we can apply a nested if in Excel to help us automate. Doesn't matter if we are working with numbers or with categorical ranges.